4th grade, are you ready to start with today's class? Because I am. So I hope that you are ready, like I told you, because we are going to do a review about the activities that we did yesterday at the last video. In yesterday's video, we learned some new hobbies, and I told you a little bit about the adjectives to use to describe hobbies. Like, these were some of them, but today we're going to focus on that, so that's why I didn't want to focus a lot on that yesterday. So some of the new hobbies that we learned are basketball, hunting, doing puzzles, taking pictures, gardening, camping, and as you know, there are a lot of hobbies. I think anything can be a hobby, any action, any activity can be a hobby if you feel like, oh, I like doing it, oh, I enjoy doing it. That's a hobby, okay? So like I was telling you, we also did page 100. Remember that you needed to record a video reading conversation on exercise 7. That was it. It's a conversation between Elliot and Matt, and you could ask a relative, someone from your family, to help you reading this, or you could just read it by your own. I don't care about this, but you needed to send your videos. Remember that videos are really important. I'm just asking you to send one video for each week, and yeah, that's it. Then you had activity 9, where you needed to take out the stickers that are at the back of your book. And if you don't have the student's book, well, I'm giving you the picture of the stickers so you can cut and just paste them. And also you needed to use the words from the box, yes, to write them in the blanks in the order where you listen to them. So I was telling you that today we're going to learn a new topic, and this is something that we checked a little bit in a previous unit, and this is comparative adjectives and superlative adjectives. Maybe you remember this topic, so I hope you do, but if that's not the case, don't worry about it. We're going to check it today, so I hope you remember this topic. Comparatives and superlatives compare or show relationships. For example, as their name says, comparative and superlatives are used to compare objects, things, and people. In this unit, we are talking about hobbies, about the things that we can collect. Like, for example, remember that collecting things it's a hobby too. So we can compare the items that you collect. For example, well, it's important to know when you are going to use a comparative and we are going to use a superlative, because sometimes it's difficult, but it's not impossible. It is not that hard. If you try to understand the sentence, if you try to understand the meaning of it, you are going to get it. So an adjective can be anything that you use to describe someone or something. For example, big, tall, huge, small, smart, happy can be an adjective too. What else? Colors can be an adjective too. Green, red, black, old, young. What else do we have in the book? Good, bad, new, etc. Okay, so there are a lot of adjectives you can imagine. So for example, in here I have big robot. Okay, I'm going to use this picture to show you the comparison when you are going to use a comparative and when you are going to use a superlative. So, big robot. Okay, I'm describing this robot in here. Don't pay attention to this. Primero vamos a enfocarnos en la primera imagen. Solo presta atención a esta primera imagen. Big robot. Okay, the adjective in here is big. Our subject or our object, el objeto que tenemos aquí is a robot, right? So, it's big. That's the adjective. Remember, adjectives are used to describe. Okay, I'm describing that the robot is big. Okay, so Now, we're going to use a comparative. Bigger robot. Okay, so this is big, but there is a bigger robot. Hay uno más grande que ese. So, in this case, when we are comparing one robot with another robot, we will use a comparative. Okay, to make an adjective into a comparative, we need to add ER. Bigger, okay? Instead of saying big, we are going to say bigger, okay? This robot is bigger than this one, okay? There is one robot bigger than the first robot that we had. But what about if there's another robot that is bigger than this one? Okay, so now we have 3 robots. As you can see in here, this is the leg of one robot, I think. So it means it's the biggest robot. In this case, we are using a superlative. Why, teacher? We are using a superlative because in this case, we had 3 robots. I'm comparing the first robot or this robot with two more. Okay, remember, when we are comparing one robot or one object with another, we use a comparative. But when we are comparing one with 2 or more, that's a superlative adjective. For example, I could say, este que se le ve la piernita aquí, I would say, this is the biggest robot, okay? That's the biggest robot, el más grande. So I'm comparing this biggest robot with this one and this little one, okay? It's the biggest of all. We had 3 robots, but the last one is the biggest of them. Okay, so to make a superlative, we will add EST, biggest, okay? Big robot, bigger robot, and biggest robot. If you want to draw this on your notebook, si quieres dibujar esto en tu libreta, sería una buena idea, okay? So, if you don't want to, it's okay. So, now let's check the structure of this comparison of adjectives. How to turn an adjective into comparative, into superlative. ¿Cómo volvemos un adjetivo comparative or superlative? We have some rules. Don't worry if you don't learn this today. Remember that we are going to be practicing in this. And this is, you're going to get this by practicing and doing your activities. So please try to do your activities. And if you have questions about this, please tell me. Now, in this size, we have the adjective like they are. Un adjetivo normal, okay? En este lado. In this side, we have comparative, okay? Recuerda que en comparative añadimos ER, air, clearer, darker, bigger, stronger, etc. With air at the end, okay? And a superlative, we make it adding est, clearest, darkest, biggest, strongest, etc., etc., okay? So let's check. When we have, well, pay attention, there are a lot of adjectives, but to make them into a comparative or superlative, you need to check how many syllables does the adjective have. Okay, ¿cuántas sílabas tiene el adjective? So for example, if your adjective has one syllable like clear or dark or green or I don't know what else. Okay, so just let's pay attention to this. Okay, to make it a comparative, we need to add just ER. Clear, clearer. And superlative, the clearest, okay? You need to add the before a superlative, okay? The clearest, the darkest. Siempre que tengamos a superlative, vamos a añadir the clearest, the darkest, the greenest, the strongest, okay? The strongest of all, the tallest in all the class. Okay, so when we have one syllable ending with E, si el adjective ya termina en E, we're just going to add R, okay? Ya no vamos a añadir otra E, just adding R. Wise, wiser. Wisest, the wisest. Simple, simpler. Simplest, in superlative. But now, what happens if the adjective ends with one vowel and a consonant. Okay, vowel and consonant. Pay attention to this. It's important to know this. Okay, so here we have one vowel and consonant. Vowel and consonant. Vocal, consonante. Okay, vowel I and consonant. Okay, we need to double that consonant. Necesitamos repetir esa consonante al final. If the consonant is the last consonant is an N, we are going to double it and saying thinner with double N and remember at ER, okay, or ER. Or if it's a superlative, we need to add thinnest with double N. Fat, fatter or fatter into a comparative, and superlative, the fattest, okay, the fattest. Okay, what happens now if we have two syllables ending in Y, or we don't care if it's one syllable, etc., but it ends with Y? Okay, we put away that Y and we change it into an I and add ER. Busy with Y, we change it to busier, or into a superlative will be busiest. Okay, merry, merrier, superlative, merriest. Okay, but there's another rule, kids. What happens if we have three syllables or more? It's not necessary to count in this last one rule how many syllables does the adjective have, because you are going to notice that these adjectives are usually longer than, for example, clear is just one syllable, but creative, popular, famous, beautiful are really long, right? Están muy largos. So for that reason, we are not going to add ER, not going to add EST, not ER, not ER, nor EST. ¿Ok? No vamos a añadir eso cuando tienen tres sílabas o más. For example, creative. You are going to say more creative. In a superlative will be most creative. Popular. Comparative, more popular. Superlative, most popular. Okay? So let's pay attention to this. If we have beautiful, we will say in comparative, more beautiful. In superlative, the most beautiful, ¿ok? Aquí ya es prestar bastante atención, ¿ok? And there are, of course, some irregular adjectives. What means that an adjective is irregular? It means that they don't care about the rules, so they make their own rules. For example, some of the most important irregular adjectives, recuerda, irregular means that you don't follow any of these previous rules. So, good would be in comparative, better. Then we have best in superlative. Bad into a comparative will be worse. Superlative will be the worst. And then we have little and much, okay? So remember, we use a comparative when we are comparing one object with another object. And a superlative is used when we are comparing one object with two or more, okay? I have a big shell collection. Number 2, Pablo's shell collection is bigger than mine. So in this case, I'm comparing two, I'm using a comparative because I'm comparing Pablo's shell collection with mine, okay? So lo estoy comparando one with another one, okay? So number 3, Aaron's shell collection is the biggest. Okay, so in this case, we are comparing Aaron's shell's collection with mine and with Pablo's collection, okay? Ahora estamos comparando la de él con la mía y con la de Pablo, okay? So in that case, is a superlative, okay? The biggest. So students book page 101. I will learn to use bigger and biggest to talk about hobbies. Okay, the example says, Chris has a big coin collection. Katie's collection is bigger than Chris' collection. Kyle has the biggest toy car collection, okay? Activity 10, look at the pictures and complete the dialogues. Look at the pictures, we have 3 cars, 1, 2, and 3. Letter A says, look at the red car, it's really old. Letter B, yes, but the blue car is than the red car. Okay, so in this blank, you are going to use the adjective old. Okay, vamos a usar old para escribir aquí en el espacio. En los dos siguientes vamos a escribir old. But you're going to decide if you are going to use it into comparative or superlative. Tú decides si escribir older or oldest, dependiendo de lo que la oración diga. If you are comparing with one and another one, or with two and the rest of the cars. And the letter A says at the end, and the black car is the blank car of them all. ¿Ok? Tienes que entender muy bien las oraciones para que puedas hacer esto. ¿Ok? Then we have, Lara is good at is a good soccer player. Okay, then it says, Steve is a better player than Lara. Joko is the best soccer player in the class. In the other side we have, my brother's pictures are bad. My sister's pictures are worse than his. My pictures are the worst of all. Okay, so remember, good and bad are irregular adjectives. So you can go back to this part of the video and check it out, okay? Si no te acuerdas, puedes regresar o buscarlo en internet. Okay, activity 11 says, look at the pictures, complete the dialogues. Okay, so here we have one picture and one situation, number 2, and the next situation. And there's other conversation. So it says, Sam is a bad singer. Letter B says, yes, but Mike is... Ok, so, si aquí estamos usando bad como adjetivo, es el mismo que vamos a usar en su forma irregular. Recuerda que bad es un adjetivo irregular. So you're going to decide if you're going to use worse or the worst. Ok, the worst. Ok, letter A says at the end, yes, but Terry is the blank singer of all. He really can't sing. Okay, the second one, number 2 says, hey, Vincent is a good student. Letter B, yes, but Tim is blank than Vincent. Okay, letter A, true, but Luisa is the student in our class. In this case, good is the adjective. So remember, better and the best. In comparative and superlative, okay? Remember to follow the things that the boxes say in here. It's the same that you are going to place in here, but pay attention to the sentences so you can decide if it's comparative or superlative. And that's it for today, kids. I don't know how long is this video taking, but please, if you have questions about this, send a message and I'm going to help you. And don't worry, because when we come back from vacation, we're going to keep practicing on this. I know this is a lot of information, but we need to check it out. So that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember that tomorrow we are going to have a live class. And try to be on time, because in that case we can finish our activities and we can do games. That's it for today. Be on time tomorrow. Bye!